All right, we're about to dive into a hidden world of covert operations, secret signals, and, get this, biological heists. Let's peel back the curtain on this invisible invasion. So let me start by asking you a question. What could possibly connect these three plants? I mean, tulips, tobacco, tomatoes. It's not their color. It's not where they grow. The answer, it turns out, is way more sinister. Yep, and that's it. They are all prime targets for some of the most creative and downright sneaky criminals in the entire natural world. Plant viruses. And today, we're going to go full-on detective and decode their methods one clue at a time.
Okay, first things first. Every good criminal mastermind needs a way to go undetected, right? So how in the world does a virus pull off its initial break-in?
Well, this is what makes them so incredibly successful. Sometimes an infection is super obvious. The plant looks sick, no question. But other times, a virus can just lie low. It becomes a silent infector with zero outward signs. The plant is now a symptomless carrier, a perfect secret agent for spreading that virus everywhere.
But here's the thing. Even the best criminals leave a trail of evidence. So now, it's time for us to put on our detective hats and examine the visual clues they leave behind.
And the clues they leave, they basically fall into two main categories. First, you've got your local symptoms. Think of this as the entry wound, the exact spot where the virus first broke in. Then you've got systemic symptoms, which are much more like the evidence of a full-blown crime spree after the virus has totally hijacked the plant's internal highway system and just spread everywhere.
And one of the most common calling cards for a plant virus, it's theft. Specifically, the theft of color.
And they have all kinds of methods. They might create these weird mosaic patterns, like with the famous tobacco mosaic virus. Or they might cause what's called vein clearing. But the most famous one? They can break the color in flower petals, literally stealing pigment to create these dramatic, beautiful streaks. But viruses don't just steal color. Oh no, they're also masters of distortion. They physically twist and deform their victims. And this is where things start to get really weird. I mean, beyond just stunting a plant's growth, viruses can do things like suppress leaf development until they look like these bizarre shoestrings. They can even trigger these strange tumor-like outgrowths called enations. It's wild stuff. Sometimes the signatures they leave behind are almost artistic. Ring spot viruses, for example, leave these stunning concentric circles on the leaves. But as striking as all these clues are, the most revealing evidence, you can't see it with the naked eye at all. To find the real smoking gun, we have to go deeper. We need to zoom all the way in, right down to the cellular crime scene. Because you have to realize, all those symptoms we just looked at, the spots, the curls, that's just the fallout from a microscopic war that's happening inside the plant's own cells. And this is what we find inside. These things are called inclusion bodies. And you can pretty much think of them as tiny viral factories, totally hijacking the cell's machinery just to pump out more and more virus particles. Some viruses, like potiviruses, build these incredibly distinct pinwheel-shaped structures. It's their unique microscopic fingerprint left right at the scene of the crime. So the virus has taken over the plant, it's turned its cells into factories. But how does it escape? How does it get to the next victim? Well, that brings us to the final act of this whole operation, the ultimate hijack. See, a virus can't just walk or fly to a new plant. It's stuck. It needs a ride. And its getaway vehicle of choice is usually some unsuspecting insect, a vector that basically becomes its accomplice. Let's look at the actual heist plan for the tomato spotted wilt virus. Step 1. A young insect called a thrips takes a bite and acquires the virus. But the virus doesn't just sit there. Step 2. It replicates, it multiplies inside the insect's body. Then, step 3, infiltration. It moves into the salivary glands. And the final step, transmission. When that thrips takes its next meal, it injects the virus directly into a brand new, healthy plant. Heist complete. But wait, this is where the story goes from a simple crime to a work of pure genius. The virus is not just some passive passenger, okay? It's not just sitting around waiting for a random insect to show up. No. It actively summons its getaway driver. And the entire brilliant scheme hinges on this.
One single elegant change: the plant's smell. By altering the chemicals the plant releases into the air, the virus turns its victim into an absolutely irresistible beacon, basically calling its insect taxi service right to the front door. It's an unbelievable act of long-distance manipulation. And this isn't a one-off trick either. This is a widespread strategy. Just look at this. Potato leaf roll virus doesn't just make the plant smell better to aphids, it actually makes it more nutritious for them. We just saw how TSWV replicates inside the thrips to guarantee its spread. These viruses aren't just infecting plants, they're manipulating entire ecosystems on a tiny, tiny scale.
So when you really think about it, these tiny invaders are doing so much more than just making plants sick. They're changing their shape, their color, their scent, and even the behavior of the insects all around them. Which kind of leaves us with one final big thought. If viruses are out there shaping our world in ways we can barely even perceive, what other invisible architects are out there, quietly conducting the symphony of life all around us?